The marble halls of the Galactic Council chambers echoed with the measured footsteps of Ambassador Reed as he approached the central podium. Around him, representatives from 47 different species sat in their designated sections, their various forms of communication, creating a symphony of clicks, whistles, and electronic tones that the universal translators converted into coherent speech. Reed had served as Earth's primary diplomat for 12 years, watching as humanity slowly earned its place among the stars. Today, however, something felt different. The usual diplomatic courtesy seemed strained, and several species avoided eye contact entirely. The council speaker, a tall being known as Prime Caller, rose from the elevated platform. His blue-scaled skin shimmered under the artificial lighting as he addressed the assembly. "The matter before us today concerns the human colony of New Terra," Caller announced, his voice carrying the weight of authority. "Recent intelligence suggests this world harbors resources vital to galactic stability." Reed's jaw tightened. New Terra had been humanity's greatest achievement, thriving world of 3 million souls who had spent 20 years transforming barren rock into fertile farmland. The colony represented hope for humanity's future among the stars. The Council has determined that New Terra's mineral deposits and agricultural potential make it too valuable to remain under single-species control, Caller continued. Therefore, we vote to transfer administrative authority to the Galactic Resource Management Division. The words hit Reed like a physical blow. Around the chamber, representatives from species that had once called themselves friends now avoided. His gaze, the Velari, with whom humanity had shared technological advances. The Quinn, who had fought alongside human ships during the Outer Rim conflicts. Even the Nexer, who had been humanity's first contact with galactic civilization. "This is theft," Reed said, his voice carrying clearly through the chamber's acoustics. New Terra was colonized under the Expansion Accords. Humanity has full legal claim to that world. Prime Caller's expression remained impassive. The Accords were written when humanity was considered a developing species. Your rapid expansion has created ... concerns. The Council believes centralized management will benefit all. Reed looked around the chamber, seeing calculation in alien eyes. Humanity had grown strong, perhaps too strong for their comfort. New Terra was not just a colony, it was a message. A reminder that humans, despite being newcomers, would not be easily controlled. "You mistake us for those who yield to intimidation," Reed said quietly. "Humanity has faced extinction before. We survived ice ages, plagues, and wars that would have broken lesser species. We will not surrender our children to your greed." The chamber fell silent. Several species shifted uncomfortably, remembering the stories of human resilience that had become legend across the galaxy. Tales of soldiers who fought impossible battles, of civilians who rebuilt from ashes, of a species that seemed to grow stronger when pushed to the edge. Prime Caller's scaled features hardened. "The vote has been cast. New Terra will be transferred within 30 standard days. This session is concluded." Reed departed without the customary diplomatic pleasantries, his mind already racing ahead to the communications he would need to send. The Council had made their choice, believing humanity would accept this decision with the same resignation other species had shown when faced with superior numbers. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Within hours, Reed's message reached Earth. The response was swift and decisive. Fleet Admiral Kane, a veteran of the border wars, was given unprecedented authority. Every human world began mobilizing, and the industrial capacity that had impressed the galaxy now turned toward. Single-purpose. The Galactic Council had expected protests, perhaps economic sanctions. They had not expected the sight that greeted them 3 weeks later, a human fleet that dwarfed anything they had anticipated. Ships emerged from jump points across the galaxy, surrounding council worlds with mechanical precision. Admiral Kane himself stood on the bridge of the flagship Defiance, watching as his tactical display showed the positions of over 2,000 vessels. Each ship represented humanity's refusal to bow to intimidation, crewed by volunteers who had left their homes to defend New Terra. "Open channels to all Council worlds," Kane ordered. His weathered face showed no emotion, but his voice carried the weight of an entire species' resolve. "To the Galactic Council," he began, his words transmitted simultaneously to every inhabited world in Council space. "You have chosen to steal from humanity, believing us weak and compliant. You have forgotten that we are the species that turned desert into garden, that built civilization from nothing, that survived every catastrophe our world could offer." The transmission continued, reaching billions of beings across the galaxy. "We did not seek this conflict, but we will not shrink from it. Return New Terra to its rightful owners, or learn why humanity has never known the meaning of surrender." On New Terra itself, the colonists watched the skies with quiet determination. They had transformed this world with their own hands, raised families here, built something lasting. The orbital platforms they had constructed for trade now bristled with defensive systems, manned by citizens who had never expected to become soldiers. The Galactic Council convened an emergency session, their chambers filled with urgent debate. The human fleet had not fired a single shot, but their presence changed everything. Species that had supported the seizure of New Terra now questioned the wisdom of challenging humanity's resolve. Prime Kalar found himself facing a truth he had not wanted to acknowledge. Humanity was no longer the junior species seeking acceptance. They had become something the galaxy had not seen in millennia, a people willing to fight for their principles, regardless of the odds. The decision, when it came, was unanimous. New Terra would remain under human control, and the Resource Management Division would be disbanded. The Galactic Council had learned that some species could not be intimidated, could not be bought, and would never accept injustice as inevitable. As the human fleet began its withdrawal, Admiral Kane allowed himself a small smile. The galaxy had tested humanity's resolve and found it unbreakable. The message was clear. Humanity would take its place among the stars on its own terms, or not at all. The age of underestimating humanity had ended.